This is the audio for the Slippery Noodle. Coming up next, we're going to be driving by the Slippery Noodle, which is a very famous old building here in Indianapolis. It started as a business in 1850 and has been continuously running as a business ever since, the oldest business here in town. It's always succeeded because the owners have been able to supply what the public demanded, and it has a very colorful history, especially in its early years. It began as an upscale inn. Back then they sold alcohol, had places to stay, and in the 1850s and 1860s it also served as a way station for the Underground Railroad. Now the Underground Railroad was trails all throughout the United States from the south heading up north in order for slaves to escape slavery. So a way station was basically a place of relative safety where they could stop and rest, eat, and continue on their journey. During the times of Prohibition, the Slippery Noodle was a speakeasy. So they actually brewed beer in the basement of this building, piped it up through the walls to serve the customers. So it was famous for bootleg liquor, but since the day it opened in 1850, it has always served alcohol. Now, Walter Moore was one of the more successful and creative businessmen to own the Slippery Noodle, and he established it also here on the second floor, if you look up here, as a brothel. So it was a brothel for over 50 years, folks. And of course, a lot of colorful history comes out of a business like that. It remained a brothel until 1953, when two men fought, one stabbing the other to death, all fighting over one prostitute. It was such a blatant murder, the bloody murder, as a matter of fact, that the gentleman the killer, he left the blade on the bar, covered in blood, and walked out the door. Well, the law had always been able to turn a blind eye to the Slippery Noodle, probably because they all frequented the Slippery Noodle as well. But when the public demanded retribution because of that very public murder, they finally had to shut down just the second floor. So it remained a bar and restaurant, but the brothel finally came to an end in 1953. Now this all leads to a lot of colorful history, lots of spiritual energy in this building. So let's talk about that.